runner was on a narrow path. He stood and hailed them, asking if Thorin would now listen to someone else.
That will be Dane. They have got wind of his coming. I thought it would change their mood. Tell them to come few in number and weaponless, and I will hear.
About midday, the banners of the forest and the lake were brought forth again. About 20 were approaching. Before they entered the gate, they placed their weapons down. The dwarf saw that among the visitors were the Elf King and Lord.
Hello, Thorin. Are you still of the same mind?
My mind doesn't change that easily. Did you come to ask me questions? The elf host hasn't like I asked. Till then, you have come in vain to bargain with me.
Is there nothing for which you give any of your gold?
Nothing that you or your friends have.
What about the Arkenstone?
At that exact moment, he held out the jewel, and no one spoke because Thorin was stricken with confusion.
That was my father's and is mine. Why should I purchase my own? But why do you have it? Did you steal it?
We're not thieves. Your own will be in return for ours.
How did you get it?
I gave it to them.
Thorin grabbed him with both hands.
You miserable hobbit! You undersized burglar!
Gandalf appeared as Bilbo was being shaken.
If you don't like my opinion, don't challenge him. Listen to what he has to say.
Never again will I have dealings with any wizards or his friends. What have you say, you descendant of rats?
Dear me, this is so uncomfortable. You remember saying that I might choose my own 14th share. Take it that I have disposed of my share as I wished, and let it go at that.
I will let you go, and we will never meet again. I knew I couldn't get the Arkenstone. I'll give you 1/14 of the hoard of silver and gold. You can divide as you please. Take him if you wish to live, and no friendship of mine goes with him. Go to your friend, or I will throw you down.
What about the gold and silver?
That shall follow after.
Until then, we keep the stone.
You're not doing very well as king, but things may change.
They may indeed.
Thorin wondered whether he could get the treasure with the help of Dane, and so Bilbo swung down from the wall crying his farewells.
Farewell!
We will give you until tomorrow. At noon we will return with the portion of the hoard to trade for the stone. If that's done without deceit, we will depart, and the elf host will go back to the forest. Farewell!
With that, they went back to the camp. The day and night passed. Runners came to report that the host of dwarves had appeared around the eastern side of the mountain. Dane had come. Each of his folk had on armor. The dwarves were very strong and had weapons of various sorts. Men and elves came to arms. Dwarves could be seen coming up the valley. Bard and Bilbo went to see them.
We were sent by Dane. You have no business here. Make way or we shall fight you.
They meant to push on between the mountain and the river. Bard refused to let them go straight to the mountain. He waited for the gold and silver to be brought in exchange for the Arkenstone. They could stand for weeks, and many more could come because Thorin had many relatives. These were precisely their plans. Bard sent messengers to the gate, but they found no gold or payment. The dwarves with Dane were advancing along the eastern bank.
They don't understand we're above ground. Many of our archers and spearmen are hidden among the rocks.
The dwarves can't pass us or do anything that we can't match. Our advantage in numbers will be enough.
The dwarves guessed the hesitation of the bard and his friends, and resolved to attack. They silently sprang forward. A battle was about to begin. It began to storm.
Stop! The goblins are upon you! Folk of the north is coming!
The dwarves halted, and the elves cried out. A battle began that no one expected, the battle of the 5 armies. One side had the goblins and the wild wolves, and the other elves, men, and dwarves. They resolved then to win the north. Vast hosts assembled at the capital. At the council, the elf king, Bard, and Dane decided that the goblins were all of their foes, and the quarrels were forgotten. The elves were at the southern spur, and the eastern spur had men and dwarves. Bard, the nimblest of men and dwarves, were at the eastern shoulder. It was a terrible battle. Bilbo vanished quite early with the help of magic rays. The elves were the first to charge. 1,000 of the spearmen charged, and the rocks were stained black with goblin blood.
The goblins panicked and were attacked again by the elves. The goblins and wolves were receding, and the victory seemed at hand. Goblins scaled the mountain and planned to attack. Victory now vanished from hope. Goblins and dwarves gathered in the valley. Bard was fighting to defend the eastern spur. They forgot about Thorin, who yielded his axe with mighty strokes, and nothing seemed to stop him. The dwarves and men rushed down to help. Soon Soon the elves appeared, and the goblins were again dying in immense numbers. Bard couldn't pierce the ranks of Bulge's guards. Many men, elves, and dwarves died in this battle. The attack slowed, and the amounts of goblins and dwarves immensely declined. Bilbo hid amongst the elves during all of this. Gandalf stood there in deep thought. Bilbo thought about their impending loss. All of a sudden, the eagles arrived, and he yelled. A stone fell, knocked him unconscious. Bilbo's side had come to victory.